It's Tuesday night, which means it's player and coach interview night, and it also means another Irish Illustrated instant analysis. The coach tonight, special teams coordinator Marty Biagi, a handful of players. To my right, Drew Mentock. To my left, Tim Prister. I am John Brice, and this, of course, is brought to you by the RVMH Hall of Fame and Northern Indiana Events Center in Elkhart, Indiana. Tim, we'll start with you. Visited with a number of people tonight, Malachi Fields among them. Let's start there. He's getting ready for his one-year Notre Dame Senior Day.
Yeah, he admitted that his great one-handed catch was the best of his career. I asked him, because when I was watching the replay of it, it looked like initially he thought he could go get it with two hands, and he quickly realized that wasn't going to work and stuck that big paw up there. I mean, truly one of the great catches that we've seen a Notre Dame player make.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, we visited with Marty Biagi, Malachi Fields, Junior Tuihalamaka, Justin Fischer, and Eli Raridon. I don't think I'm leaving anybody out. Drew, you and I spent the most time with Jaylen Sneed, me more than you, but you asked him his first question. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, I wanted to know, he's a guy who there's always been rumors that maybe he wouldn't stick it out. Things didn't work out perfectly for Jaylen Sneed for a five-star coming in. He'd think he had more expectations for what he was going to do when he first got here. So I think every spring he was a guy who's always kind of on our list of like, will he stick around? What's he going to do? And obviously he's somebody to persevere to. He's going to be here for Senior Day. And he just was open about those struggles and how much stronger they made him. And he didn't really know what things are going to look like. And he kind of pushed through, and how much more rewarding that is for him, maybe compared to even some other guys, to know he kind of stuck it out, and it wasn't always a given that he would be here for 4 years.
And speaking of him being here for 4 years, a couple of news items there. First of all, Jaylen Sneed told us he will be graduating in December. Congrats to him. He also obviously has one more year of eligibility left. He is a fourth-year junior. He said he has not made up his mind on that. He said he is, quote, strictly focused on Syracuse. Finally, I asked him how many people he would have in attendance this weekend. He said, just 10 or 11. Not too many people in a hurry to come up from Hilton Head, South Carolina, to the cold of South Bend, Indiana. TP, you and I both, as well as Drew, spent some time around Marty Biagi. We'll dive into some specifics, but your overarching thoughts from visiting with Notre Dame special teams coordinator.
Well, this is something I've wanted to ask him all year, and you get distracted, and you go to different players, et cetera. But James Rendell, who's had a tremendous year, but at what point did he make the transition to the American-style punter? He wasn't that last year, and I knew that he was working on it all along, and that was something that Marty Biagi said, that he continued to work on the technique, but wasn't completely comfortable at any point last season to make the transition. You have the off season, you have plenty of time to work on it. One thing I didn't ask him, I mean, it's got to be comfortable for Rendell knowing that most teams aren't going to put out an all-out rush on him, because Notre Dame could very easily fake a punt, so he has the comfort of knowing that he has time. Notre Dame has the personal protectors there. And as we've seen, James Rendell's been very comfortable punting the football. He's been dynamite this year. And he's doing for lack of a better term, the American-style way of punting.
And, Drew, you had a great question for Marty Biagi about the potential for James Rendell to have a third year. We didn't get clarity, but I'll let you provide the answer.
Yes, it seems like they're still waiting to hear back from the NCAA if that's a possibility. It seems less likely than him getting the second year, and I think by now we had that answer last year. So still waiting to see, but obviously with the vast improvements he's made. He's a Ray Guy semifinalist for the best punter in the country, so he's a guy Notre Dame would definitely love to have back, given how quickly he's improved and as Prister just explained, adapted to this game.
Yeah, didn't you think that Biagi kind of like showed some indication that there was a possibility of him coming back?
A possibility, yeah, but he said he would leave it to Coach Freeman and Rendell to answer that or provide the context there. So I would imagine Notre Dame has the answer, but who knows? Maybe we'll get to ask Marcus Freeman about it on Thursday. Before we shift to the players, a little bit more from Coach Biagi. He talked about it's not anything new. It's not been one or two games that he's been on the field filming his players. It's something he said that actually he's been doing about the entire time he's been here. He does not do it every game, but he's done it at some point in time each of his 3 seasons at Notre Dame. He's always been, we've written about it and talked about it before, he's always been filming from a kicker's eye view on the practice field. Now he's doing that a little bit more on the game field and pregame warmups, because he thinks, much like a golf swing, he wants them to see it in that setting, not just on the, quote, driving range. TP, some other nuggets from Biagi that stood out to you, talking about feeling like they're so close. There was a culture component that I think you heard about for all the players in team meeting rooms.
What I really wanted to talk about was Schmidt. You know, he talked about stacking days together, and he realizes that you can stack days together on the practice field. It doesn't matter if you don't, get it done in the game. But, they keep going to the practice field, and he's having success. Marcus Freeman has talked about that as well. It's just going to take you kind of thought that the extra points against Boston College might get him locked in a little bit. It didn't carry over. I will say that his one field goal attempt, he kicked it straight. He kicked it exactly where it was pointed. Unfortunately, it wasn't pointed in the exact right position.
And it had plenty of distance. We should note that. And he also, Coach Biagi also noted a couple of those PATs. He said they looked like Spencer Schrader and some of those other guys, like they were at the top of the goalpost or going over. He also admitted publicly that Notre Dame had intended to redshirt Eric Schmidt this year, and that became no option with Noah Burnett injured. He said Noah Burnett, if he gets healthy, would have a chance to regain kicking duties potentially, but that looks like December at the earliest. Drew, Tim O'Malley with a great note that Junior Tuihalamaka and Justin Fischer are the only two true seniors on this football team. You got to spend some time with Justin Fischer. What stood out to you about that visit?
Yeah, and I think it was Eli Raridon is the other true senior scholarship player at least. But yeah, Justin Fischer, he's a local guy. He's from Mishawaka High School. So they wanted to bring him out and kind of show off that moment. And I mean, he's a guy who grew up kind of in the shadow of Notre Dame, so I think he's just really looking forward to this opportunity. He's a guy who's done a lot for the program in terms of switching from tight end to running back to tight end this year, and just kind of doing everything they asked. So he's really relishing this moment. He knows there's a small chance they could get a home game, and maybe this isn't his last time going out of the tunnel, but he's going to pretend like that's definitely the case and enjoy it as much as he can.
Speaking of that, the college football playoff rankings will be updated tonight, not too long around the corner. TP, any final thoughts from you?
Yeah, with regard to Eli Raridon, I asked him about his grandfather Scott. I'm the only one old enough to have been around long enough that when his grandfather was here as a strength and conditioning coach, and I actually ran into him in Atlanta, but didn't really know whether he'd been coming back for games, and he'll be back here for Eli's last game, and he says he comes back on a regular basis. The other thing, I talked to him about. I seem to be the one that's gotten the biggest kick out of Eli Raridon, have difficulty knowing the difference between the on the field and the sideline, and he did get a smile out of it. And he said, "I just got to be a little bit more aware of where I am on the field." I think most of the replays on Saturday against Pittsburgh were tied to Eli Raridon trying to stay in bounds.
We'll have full coverage, written content on the Irish Illustrated website. Drew, as always, will man the updating the college football playoff rankings. And then, of course, Thursday we'll come back with Marcus Freeman's Zoom and our Irish Illustrated Insider podcast after that. So for our cameraman, Jimmy, for Tim Priester, for Drew Mentock, I'm John Brice. This has been Irish Illustrated Instant Analysis, brought to you by the RV Manufacturers Hall of Fame and Northern Indiana Events Center in lovely Elkhart, Indiana.